back, listeners and viewers, to another week of Deducation, the Teacher's Talking Terror podcast, where myself, Mike,
and myself, Courtney,
are back to talk about another Fangoria movie list entry. We are here to talk about 1989's Paperhouse, a very underseen movie.
Yeah.
It's one that it is streaming free. I think it was on Tubi. So it's one that you can go see, but it's one that probably has a very small viewership. I have a feeling there's probably not a ton of people that have seen this movie, especially now as it's just kind of died on the vine, so to say. But no, Fangoria thought this is a good underrated film one should see. Just kind of a spoiler on the review. I liked this movie. It was probably too slow and boring for you, but I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't understand any of it.
But I thought it was a very creative attempt. We previously reviewed Candyman, am I right?
Yes.
Like the original?
Yeah.
Okay. The director of this movie, Bernard Rose, went on to direct Candyman about 4 years later. And so, you know, he hadn't done a whole lot, really. Candyman's kind of the one that really sticks out on his filmography. But Bernard Rose took this Paperhouse film and turned it into Candyman, which, of course, Candyman is, one of those top tier, horror villain figures. So, but Paperhouse is a movie about a little girl named Anna, who honestly, the actress has literally never been in anything else.
Yeah.
She was in this, and I was reading the trivia. She's like, I have such fond memories of that movie. I never wanted to make another movie again. I just loved it so much that I don't want to sully it by doing anything else. But no, little girl named Anna, 11-year-old, she came off to be very tomboyish.
Yeah, actually at first I thought she was a boy.
Right.
Until she went to the hallway and had a skirt and shoes on. Like the whole time I was like, oh, this little boy is picking on this little girl.
Yeah. She comes off very tomboyish, but she's not really a tomboy. She's just very boyish features and short haircut and whatever. British girl. And so she's kind of a trouble. I don't know. It's tough. Like, would you call her a troublemaker at school? Or just a kid that kind of gets the short shaft?
Right. I felt like she kind of just got the short shaft.
I did too.
Because do I think maybe she causes some issues, which is maybe why the teachers are like, no, I don't believe anything you ever say. Right. But I also felt bad. She's like, I'm dizzy. And the teacher's like, no, you're not. Just go to the hallway.
And then we come to find out.
She's 11.
Yeah.
You think she knows what it's like to be dizzy? No.
So she goes out in the hallway, and of course, like, she's ornery, really.
Yeah.
She's an ornery 11-year-old girl, broken home, cares about her mom. I just, I don't take it as she's a troublemaker.
Yeah.
I think she's just involved in enough mischief that the teachers are irritated by her, and she unfortunately doesn't come from a family name that's going to get her out of trouble. So really, we get some early kind of mishaps as what's going on in her real life world, which is nothing too major, other than just she's got these dizzy spells.
Yeah.
And so she fakes her first one, we find out, at school, where they send her out in the hallway, and then she collapses in the hallway, and they send for her mom, and she admits that I faked that one, Mom.
But see, I took it as, I didn't really think she was faking it, because she's like, yeah, I didn't know what happened. And then her mom's like, well, we're going to the doctor. She's like, I faked it.
Yeah.
Like, I was like,
that's true. That maybe
so
she
I
didn't.
Guess, I don't know. Like, maybe.
That's true. I think that's probably a better interpretation of it. I missed that little, because I took it as she was just admitting she faked it.
Because
later on, when she's with her friend and they go to play hide and seek, which this is a ridiculous scene. 2 girls, like, out in the boonies, putting on makeup. Let's play, and she's like, let's play hide and seek or tag or whatever. And the other friend's like, I don't want to do that. Like, that's for kids.
Yeah.
And she's like, we are kids. Like, and she's like, okay, fine. You go hide. okay, but you count to 100.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, what about like 30 maybe?
Mm-hmm.
So we get her counting pretty much to 100 as Anna like goes to hide and like again collapses. And of course, when you're playing hide and seek and then you pass out before you're found, that leads to some worry.
Yeah.
So she's had these things. Well, it turns out she's suffering from she's got a fever. Like she's got like gland issues and she's suffering from a fever. Well, she also likes to draw, and we actually opening title of the title sequence of this movie is played over her drawing a house on top of a hill with some trees and a fence, and it's like she just draws a house, and it's very drawn by an 11-year-old type of house.
Your basic cookie cutter house that you see drawn.
Just how like I'm sure every son your kindergartners draw is if it's not a full circle right in the middle, it's in the upper right hand corner, and there's always sun rays.
Yes.
And so it's that very stereotypical wonky looking home. Well, the thing is, every time she passes out, she has these dreams where she is in the scene of the house. And so the first time she has this dream, it's just the house. And I thought they did a great job. I'm assuming they built this house to look like her drawing, which I thought was pretty cool because it's like, now here we are 2025 and there are companies out there that are like, send in your kid's drawing and we'll make a stuffed animal out of it, or and it's like, this is late 80s and they're like, we're gonna make a movie based on this. So every time she has these episodes where she passes out or she goes into dream world, she's in this house, right? And the first time there wasn't much there. Like, it's just the house. Well, as she keeps adding to the drawings, like at one point she's like, well, I was there and I was alone. So she draws like a boy in the window.
Yeah.
And then the next time she's in dream world, there's a boy at the window. So she goes...
His poor legs don't work.
Right.
She gets up to meet him.
Right. Like she goes into the house and there's nothing in the house. No furniture, nothing in the house. And like you said, he's just sitting along the window. Well, that's where she drew him.
Yeah.
So it's this hand in hand that, so she's like, okay, so she draws them stairs because like there's no stairs to get up there. She's got to be creative in how she gets up there. Well, I better draw stairs in the house. So it's this really cool juxtaposition of she's adding to this drawing and then entering this dream reality where she's in her drawing and she can actually like maneuver around it. It's very forward thinking. Because in like today's world, it would be like, programming and then going into your program to see what works and what doesn't work and then making adjustments. Well, as she spends more time in the dream world, she's also finding out that there are elements of the dream world that are showing up in her real life. For instance, she sees a doctor a lot because of her episodes. And she finds out that this boy, Mark, in the dream world is also being treated by the same doctor, which you can't do that. Like, doctors can't disclose other people. But for the sake of the movie, we'll just forgive that major professional faux pas. Doctors can't talk about patients with other patients. But yeah, there's this boy's got muscular dystrophy. She's sharing all this, like, oh, Mark, and the doctor's like, yeah, I know Mark, I treat him. So she just, like I said, it's this back and forth of, Anna she's living a rough life. Like, she's got a mom that loves her, but she's got split parents. Dad doesn't have a lot to do with her. I get the vibe. Mom still loves dad, but knows he's not there. So they've got this weird kind of on again, off again.
Yeah, and dad's gone for work, like a lot.
Yeah, and then when Anna keeps coming out of the dream world and talking about the things from her dream world, like it appears to be lying. It just seems like she's lying. It said she's drawn stairs. She's added trees, like all these things. And so she gets into this position where her dream world is now more important than her real world. That's where her energy and her concern lies. And so she's got this idea that she's realizing whatever I draw shows up in the paper house.
Yeah.
So she has an idea that she's going to draw her father. Again, this is a horror film. Nothing yet horrific, and it's not like a crazy horror film.
Right. Yeah.
There's more ideology.
Very much is very mild.
It's very tame, very tame.
Yes.
So she draws her father into the drawing with the idea that he's going to help carry Mark away.
Mm-hmm.
And when she goes back to the dream world and Dad shows up, he's angry. And the reason he's angry is because she accidentally drew him with an angry expression.
Yeah.
And when she realized she drew him with an angry expression, she kind of crossed it out because it's crayon or whatever. And so back in the dream world, Dad's angry, but Dad's blind.
Yeah.
Because she basically scratched his eyes out.
Yeah, like he's just covered in scratch
So
marks.
that's where the horror elements come into play. I thought they did a really great job of like backlighting the dad so he's always in shadow.
Yeah.
Like he was a deep voice, like he was creepy.
Yeah.
It was a creepy element. Big purple sky, because everything in the dream world was very dreamlike, for lack of a better word. Purple skies and things that aren't necessarily what we're used to seeing. So Dad shows up, and of course he can't see anything, but he's angry, which scares Anna and scares Mark. And so it's just this weird back and forth of Anna trying to control the dream world by drawing things in the real world, but she's limited by the artistic abilities of an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
So she and Mark are hiding from the angry dad. Mark has an idea, like, why don't you pretend you're drawing?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so if you pretend you're drawing, then maybe you could just rip out the part that your dad's in.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it's just, that's her idea, is because again, you're in your dream world, you're acting inside your dream world. And like we've talked about with Nightmare on Elm Street, like if, you're going to physically react in your in your real, it seems kind of hard to explain, but she's motioning with her hands in her dream that are then making her real life hands do those same motions to tear Dad out of the picture. She almost catches the entire picture on fire.
Almost did.
Yeah, almost catches the whole picture on fire. So she does. She gets rid of Dad. So, well,
on the picture, yes.
Yeah, on the
but
picture.
Not in the dream. Yeah,
no, not in the dream. So that was kind of a big jump scare, because she does tear the father out, but it didn't work in the dream because he breaks into the closet.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just very, again, if you're watching this through the lens of an 11-year-old, it's just terrifying to have your dad grabbing you and yelling at you. And it's like, that's terrifying. And again, all this in the guise of she's having fever dreams, really. And so she's now in the hospital because, again, she's flailing around in her sleep. She's in real rough shape. And so they kind of put two together that Dad rough handling her in her dream was really like the EMTs, and ambulance and hospital staff, trying to get her to calm down and massage her heart and things like this. And so it's just a lot of so there's two realities going on here, and they're both physically happening to Anna at the same time. Anna keeps talking to the doctor about Mark. And doctor's like, yeah, Mark's getting better, which of course Anna knows he's not, because she sees him in the dream. And so it's no, I don't know if I believe you. She sees right through it. Mark's dying, but the doctor at the same time is like, how do you know all this?
Right. Yeah.
That's the part that's really the bridge for us as the viewer is, in the real world, Anna's having fever dreams. In the dream world, Anna is in control of it all because she's the one that put it all there. But Anna knowing about Mark and Mark's status is really the doctor's like, Like, there's no way she knows this stuff. There's no way.
Right.
So Anna's in the hospital, away from her drawing, away from her supplies, and she's requested, can I have my drawing stuff? Dad shows up because obviously his daughter's in real rough physical shape, So real life dad shows up, talking to mom. Maybe we should go on vacation. Anna, of course, is kind of marred by her dad leaving the family anyway, and then the way dad's been treating her in the nightmare kind of rattles her a little bit. So she's like, I don't know about this. I don't know about dad. I just don't know about dad. So with her drawing material, she's drawing new stuff for Mark. Were you ever like? Were you ever an artist?
No.
I'm not either. My daughter loves to draw. My wife is very good at art. But
I'm one of those that, like, if I look at something, I can draw it really well.
I
but
can't even do that.
I'm not creative to draw anything on my own.
Yeah. And so I'll admit I have an imagination, but I'm not a good artist. So I would struggle with taking whenever we've gone and done like ceramic painting, mine just looks awful. Like,
yeah,
I've got an image in my head and I just can't get it out, and it just doesn't look as good. Every once in a while I'll be really proud of my Halloween pumpkin, but ultimately that's about it. So Anna prefers to spend more time in her dream world because she's in control there. She's not in control here. And so she has the genius idea of, I'm going to draw a pencil so that when I'm there, I have a pencil, and then I can add whatever we need.
Right. And now her dream house is like
real bougie.
Yes, this bougie lighthouse that they live in.
Yeah. And so she meets Mark at the lighthouse, and again, he's cured. He's basically cured. He's good to go now. All of his muscular dystrophy, paralysis, all of this stuff is gone, which is great. But it doesn't bode well for real life Mark when all Mark's physical ailments are gone. It's probably because Mark's gone. Inside the dream, they're just hanging out. She's 11. There's one scene of this movie that really bothers me. There's a point where like she's taking a bath and the camera's like where the faucet would be.
Yeah.
And she sits up, and it just bothers me because I'm like, that's an 11-year-old girl. Mm-hmm. Like, you just showed a topless 11-year-old girl. Was there anything to get excited about? No. So if you're listening to this, any of you pervos that are like, oh, I got to go watch that movie.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing to be excited about.
Right.
But it's still like, you just showed a topless 11-year-old girl. Like, even if the girl's really 14 playing 11, I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
She's underage. She's underage.
Yeah.
So there's a kissing scene between Mark and Anna. It's not anything passionate and romantic. It's just a little smoocher. And so they've got they've got this dream world. It's almost like Minecraft here, when Anna's like what do you want? I'll just draw it. We're good to go. So they're like on the edge of a cliff, as the lighthouse would be, and like let's go down. Like, let's go down down the cliff down to the shore.
Build a ladder.
Yeah, and Mark's like, why would you draw a ladder when you just draw a helicopter?
Yeah.
Which you're not. That's not
True.
Wrong. Which Anna's like, I don't know how to draw a helicopter.
Yeah, I'd be like, what about a slide?
Yeah, like ladders are pretty easy. But Mark's like, I could do it. I could draw a helicopter. And Anna's like, I get it, because again, like, this is my dream, like I've been doing all this. She's already kind of lost, I won't say control of her family, but she's lost that. Like, Mark is the most reliable relationship she has right now. Yeah. So Mark's like, I could draw us a helicopter, but I have to do it by myself in the lighthouse. So finally Anna's like, okay, just don't go without me.
Don't go anywhere. Yeah.
Right.
And then she wakes up.
Yeah.
And she has no clue if Mark drew the helicopter or not. She's discharged from the hospital. Dad's like, I've got great news.
Yeah.
I'm going to work from home.
Yeah.
and I won't have to go away. And I mean, Anna is still cold to him for obvious reasons.
Right.
Um, but then her dad's just like, I have to let you know that like Mark passed away.
Yeah.
And this just made me so sad. She's like, she already knew.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, like, because she did. I mean,
Yeah.
deep inside, she knew, like, the Mark I know has been paralyzed
Yeah.
and pain, and he's frail, and now he's not. So something had to have happened to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They head on a vacation.
Yeah, because that's what dads do. That's what absentee dads do when they come back. They try to buy your love.
They do. And to the seaside, you know, Anna is she's sad thinking about Mark who's passed away. Heads out, looks out the window, and
from the hotel,
she sees the lighthouse,
the dream lighthouse.
Yeah. So she's got to run over to it,
which she does. She just like bails from the hotel, sprints across. Like, this lighthouse isn't like a block away. This lighthouse is, we're in town, and that's the shore.
Yeah.
And she is quite a ways away. You know, she's like, I'm just gonna go for a quick run. Like, and she does. She like Charlie buckets her way across town, like for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. You ever seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
Yeah.
Okay, good. But she just, like, when he gets the golden ticket, it doesn't stop running for like the 7.2 miles home. That's what Anna is. She just takes off. I got to go to the lighthouse. I thought it was odd. When she gets there, the door's locked, of course, because it's not her dream light. It's not the dream lighthouse. So she's just like, what's, you know, it crushed her. But then she has an idea. Way too convenient here at the end, but whatever. You know, she just, maybe I'll just look under this rock.
Right, yeah.
Oh, like, look, there's a note from Mark. Mark left me a note. And it is, picture the helicopter. Of course, she never came back. That's the thing. She woke up, and then they went on holiday. She never came back. So, basically the note is, here's the helicopter. I couldn't wait. I'll come back. You know, so
if you can wait for me.
Yeah. So she takes off to the cliff, and what kind of felt like, is she going to inadvertently commit suicide here?
Right.
Like, because she knew Mark was dead.
Yeah.
So she runs literally to the edge of this cliff, and then here comes a helicopter flying overhead. Drops the ladder down. There's Mark. But Mark's like, back up, like, stay away from the cliff, which, when they showed perspective from the helicopter, this actress was very close to the edge of this cliff. And so she can't reach the ladder. Like, and as she's reaching for
so close. It's so frustrating.
And
like,
it does. It feels so like
close.
It does feel like she's going to go over the edge. This is where Anna's parents, like, wrap her up from, you know, like, basically gang tackle her because she's so close to the edge of this. Which that's from, like, the convenience of, like, Anna left undetected. How on earth did you know that she ran to the lighthouse?
Yeah.
Like, whatever. Like, you just let that go. But the helicopter flies away. Presumably, you know, in her mind, Mark is there, but her parents have rescued her. She's accepted that Mark is gone. Not only his death, but then even in the dream world, that was him leaving. The helicopter flying away was Mark exiting my life. And I guess I've got no one to love but my parents now, so I'm going to chill with you guys.
Yeah.
And that's Paperhouse. It's not a scary movie.
No.
I think it's a well done film. I think I think it was well shot. I think the storyline was kind of cool for its time, but it's too niche. It's too unique to really have gained much traction. So yeah, it ended up on that Fangoria list. I think more for the quality of the film than it was for the quality of the horror, because it wasn't scary. The scariest part was the blind, angry shadow dad.
Yeah.
And so those scenes were a little, you know, uncomfortable if you come from a home of
Right.
domestic
Yeah.
violence that could be a little disruptive, but still. That's Paperhouse. So what are you going to grade this thing?
I'm giving it a C. It was okay.
That's fine.
It
Yeah,
wasn't anything special.
right.
But yeah, I do agree. Like it was, I liked the parallel universe that she was creating for herself and how that carried over.
Right. And I thought they did a pretty good job because they made it easy to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yes,
again,
very much so.
it is a parallel dream world.
Yeah.
But it wasn't one of these fantastical dream worlds where there's fairies and dragons. It was what she drew on the paper that she's now interacting with.
Yeah.
And because of that, because there wasn't anything in the dream that she didn't create, it wasn't like Narnia where
Right.
you're running into a bunch of mystical beings. And no, it's like, no, if it's there, it's because she drew it. So
Yep.
I'm going to go B-. I know it's not a whole lot higher than a C, but I like the movie, but it's kind of a tough suggest of go watch this film. Like I think it's more of a dark fantasy. It's worth seeing just because it is a creative, well done film,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not one that I think any film lover has to see.
Right.
To keep current on but I think it's one that a lot of people have not seen.
Yeah.
So what character did you resonate with most in this movie? I won't say who, because there's really not a lot of characters here.
I know.
Well,
can I put myself with the teacher?
Of course.
Honestly, just because I don't think I was ever a troublemaker. I never was real sick, so I wasn't very artistic. And yeah, or I probably would have been that other little girl that she was friends with as well. Just no, we're not playing hide.
That her friend that they faked, they put on way too much makeup.
Uh-huh.
And then she went to the hospital and we never heard from that friend ever again.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know. It's a tough question. I could probably start to see myself in a position kind of like the mom, especially if I was having a situation where I constantly felt like my child was disconnected from reality and lying to me all the time. Just the frustration involved where you're talking to an 11-year-old, but really what you want to say is, what is wrong with you? I know what normal behavior looks like. You think this is normal, but this is not normal. So what's going on? But it is what it is. I mean, you love your kids regardless.
Yes.
And you just hope that they grow into being productive, functioning human beings. So
hopefully.
Is it my pick?
Shuffle, I think. No. Oh, it is your pick. Yes.
Yeah, because.
Yes.
Yeah, well, is it?
What did we watch last week? Was that mine?
Yeah.
It was mine. It was Psycho. So it's a shuffle week.
Okay. I couldn't remember. Yeah, let me switch over because I forget I want to look at, because we're not as consistent. And so, yeah, Planet Terror was a shuffle. Terrifier 3 was my pick. Psycho was your pick, and then so it's back to shuffle week. All right.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. I had a movie pick just in case it was mine, but let's see what the old shuffle button rattles up.
And I already know what my movie's going to be.
Ooh, I hope it's not the same one I'm picking. All right, so next week we're going to watch... I don't think we've seen this one. Did we see The Legend of Hell House?
LLC?
No. I think we did. I think we watched this. Let me pick another one.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I think we watched that. That's the one where the skeleton was coming up out of the acid at the end of the movie. Yeah, I think that was on the last series of playlists we watched. All right, shuffle number 2. Okay, we're going to jump ahead 10 years to a much more digital atmospheric film. We're going to watch 1998's Strangeland.
Okay.
We're going to watch Strangeland. Strangeland is Captain Howdy is a character in this one. The guy who I think directed this movie, Dee Snider, is the front man of former like 80s rock group. No, he wrote it. Former 80s rock group Twisted Sister. A detective pursues a sadist specializing in body modification rituals who lures teenagers through the internet.
I was just gonna say, hey, this is Fangoria magazine said Dee Snider has created a horror icon for the next millennium.
Ooh.
But I wonder if we're gonna see her just from the cover picture.
Yeah, with her mouth sewn shut.
Right. I wonder if we get to see that.
I'm sure we do.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah. So I've not seen Strangeland. I'll admit it's been on my radar for probably since it came out. But I'm excited for this because I graduated high school in 1998. So I know what the internet was like then.
Yeah.
And it was minimal. It was slow. You did not stream video.
Right. And I remember it being like, I mean, I was 2 in 1998.
Right.
But like, even when I was older and like the internet was, you know.
Yeah. I mean, if you had internet at your house, it was dial up.
Yes.
If you had internet at school, it was always connected, but it was faster than dial-up, but not fast like today.
Dial-up was so slow.
Yeah, it'd be like, well, I'm going to download this song. I'm going to go to bed now.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's done when I wake up.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, we're going to watch Strangeland. Again, it'll be a first for me. I'm kind of excited. I'm excited to watch this one. So, social media-wise, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, you can find us, YouTube Shorts, and like and subscribe, all that stuff you're supposed to do. Share this with your friends. If you're a listener, we greatly appreciate it. But it's 2025, and our New Year's resolution for you is to spread the word, build our subscribership, build our followers, get our views up. If you're enjoying the show, share it out there. And if you're not, if you maybe used to watch it, just let us know what we could do to fix it. That's what we want to do. But no, it'd be a first-time viewer for both of us. Dee Snider's Strangeland. So you got anything to share before we get out of here?
Nope. Stay healthy, stay warm. I feel like we've got a little polar vortex coming up next week.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be cold. So for another episode of Deducation, I'm Mike.
And I'm Courtney.
And we'll see you guys next week with Strangeland.
Bye.